guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on our YouTube account and we're looking at something that I really never focus on, guys. I never really have in any form, any game that I have played, which is the PvP aspect. So within the Arena of Heroes, we have a Legends Championship tournament, which is the PvP aspect of AFK Arena. Now, I've made it to the RO64. I've actually gotten the frame out of here a couple times, but I haven't made it, of course, to the Champion Hall. Big shout out to all of these players out there, guys, that do and spend an incredible amount of time and research to actually go through here and do the PvP aspect of this. Now, with this game mode specifically, there are a different combination of heroes that might not see use or might not see play with outside of this game mode. But also remember, guys, since we have gotten the Treasure Scramble, I'm ranked 95 right now. A lot of the PvP teams from the Legends Championship tournament have come into play within the Treasure Scramble, so they are similar. You can see this is almost the exact identical team right here that we're running. So the RNG to get this to work is pretty cool to see. But overall, guys, again, the PvP teams are a lot different. So I'm going to take a look over at Reddit. There's a breakdown of the LC tournament that actually just completed, and I want to show you the PvP formations. Maybe some of those are going to help for the LC if you're pushing that, but also they could help if you're looking at the Treasure Scramble or other PvP aspects of AFK Arena. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, guys, so here it is, the LC meta November 12th. So again, this is the one that just completed. There's a pretty in-depth guide in here. I'm going to put a link down to it down below so you can check it out. I'm just going to go through the first page in here and show you kind of what we're thinking within the LC tournament and also within the PvP, which again, a lot of these teams do translate right to the Treasure Scramble, which is where we do see them. You can try out some of these, see how effective they are within the formations, and really try some variations. So running through S tier, guys, Awakened Brutus. This is one of the reasons why I focused and why I said to build the Awakened version of Brutus. You can see, guys, even in the PvP aspect, he is an absolute monster. And it's pretty interesting with this combination of dimensionals. So Brutus will group them up. Brutus will do a lot of damage. Combined with Ezio, Ezio will actually be the finisher for those, which is awesome to see. We get, of course, damage mitigation from Merlin. We get damage mitigation. We get buffs from Joan of Arc. And then, of course, Albedo buffs and protects everybody on the team, which makes it a very, very brutal combo to deal with. This is probably one of the most popular PvP formations that I see. A lot of times I even ran this within the Treasure Scramble, and it's at 100% win rate, which is kind of crazy because it's tough to counter. Now, another one of those is just a variation, kind of the stall comp. So we have Alna and Brutus in this one. Brutus, of course, being a monster, but Alna is going to provide the immunity. We have Taline in here for the healing, Ezio for the finishing, and then, of course, Flora. Now, Flora is not used outside of the PvP aspect as of right now. Big thing with Flora, guys, is remember, when you fight in the LC tournament, you're the same level. That is really the big thing, guys, is Flora is an absolute monster when it comes to PvP. When you get her outside of the PvP aspect, there's really no place for her, because when you start getting level deficiencies, the damage doesn't really make that big of a difference. But she also does bring a massive haste debuff, which of course can absolutely destroy the enemy team depending on the heroes that you're fighting. And of course, the original version of Taline, as you see right here, guys, is again PvP, very strong, has strong healing, strong support. Also, if she is bursted down, she will come back to life, which is a pretty cool aspect. And you can see, guys, even in the S tier and the A tier, the original version of Taline is what players are running. So pretty interesting in that aspect that we're not seeing the Awakened version run within these formations, but it is just the regular original version. Looking at A tier, Navanthi and Ascent or Awakened Baden. We knew this was going to be a thing, guys, with the Awakened version of Baden and Navanthi. Seems like for most game modes, they're going to be required. Of course, Navanthi requires the E60 engraving, so it does have to be built out considerably. And if you do want to compete in the LC tournament, all of these heroes need to be built, guys. But again, looking at the Awakened version of Baden, looking at the original Taline, then we have the Awakened version of Solus, and of course, Navanthi. And if you know who this is Tarnos. I think it's Tarnos. He is an absolute monster in PvP. monster within the Treasure Scramble, monster within PvP. Outside of there, I don't know anywhere that he's used. I don't even think in the Cursed Realm or Twisted Realm that he's used anywhere anymore. I think maybe players tried him out with the trial version, but overall he has kind of dropped out. Same with the Chimera. So Kanisa and Rook right here. Good PvP aspect, really strong, solid within that game mode. Outside of PvP, not really used anywhere. Both Tarnos and Kanisa and Rook I have not built, which of course, if you want to be competitive within PvP, you're going to have to build them. But overall, not a big priority if you're not into and heavy into the PvP aspect. But this is just a slight variation, dropping out the Awakened version of Baden and Taylene and putting in Kanisa and putting in Orthos. The rest of them do remain the same. So looking a little bit further, guys, B tier is the Awakened Thane comp. So this is the first place for the PvP aspect that we are seeing the Awakened version of Thane. In here, this is actually a combination that I run. Another variation of this runs with Astrilda instead of, I'm running with Astrilda instead of Sonya. So there are a few variations to this depending on who you have built. But again, when you get to 3, 4, 5, 6 teams within the LC or within the Treasure Scramble, you have to come up with a lot more combinations, which is the reason we see these in here. Now, the Awakened Soulless Dimensional, so running the 4-dimensional heroes. Of course, Yennefer, guys, making a splash within PvP, but we also see her within the Cursed Realm. Her furniture does really well. It extends the I believe that the area or the range of her frost, which is super beneficial, guys. You do have to have them built out quite a bit. And of course, the mitigation and the boost right there. But the Awakened version of Soulless will dominate this formation with the survivability and also with the damage factor in there. Now, looking a little bit further, we have a Chimera stall. So this is the same as we see kind of up here of the Awakened Brutus stall, just a little different. So we have the Chimera, and then we do have Awakened Soulless in here, keeping in the original version of Taylene, and then, of course, Flora. The Ulna Chimera Kane. This is a pretty strong variation. So you can see our Kaylene. We have Kaylene, we have Fane, and then we have Silas in here for the support aspect. Again, this is going to be a lot of crowd control, guys. Remember that Fane is going to have crowd control when he's built out. You are also going to have Kaylene in there with very solid crowd control when built out, which makes this a very strong comp. And then the Audrey Burst right here. This is actually a formation that I run quite a bit within my Treasure Scramble. As you can see, we're in the top 100 for the Treasure Scramble, but I do run this combination. This exact combination. Works well, but it does require a very, very high investment with Audrey. The rest of them are kind of just the super cycle of getting Audrey to ult. And then, of course, we have Zafriel in there for that crowd control aspect. As we move down into the C tier, Ulna Lucretia. Now, this is a cheaper version of the PvP spec because most players will have Ulna Lucretia. They are the two highest priorities within the Stargazer, which means that players will build them out really fast. Which is a good, solid win rate PvP team with this team. Now, Ulna Baden, again, we have Baden within here making a presence in there. This is very similar to the Ulna Lucretia team, as you can see, but it brings in Mortis. So Mortis will actually buff up Baden. Those buffs will go over to his clone, making it stronger. Or if they buff up Athalia, going to do the exact same, guys. This is a really tough team to kill. Depending on how it's kind of built because of the immunities that we get from Silas, also the targeting that we get from Athalia, and of course the Ulna anybody combination for that immunity cycle. Now, Scarlet Cycle, this is one that I've actually run as well. I have it up right now within the Treasure Scramble, so it relies on the Scarlet Cycle. So everybody in here is just based on getting Scarlet to ult, because again, with the levels being matched, Scarlet's ultimate ability will do an absolute incredible amount of damage. So looking at Ulna Kaylene running frontline does work in a lot of different formations, depends on exactly who you're fighting, but similar to what we've seen with the Ulna Chimera up here, we have crowd control. We do have Valoris in here for a absolute incredible amount of damage. Both Kaylene and Valoris will do a lot of damage within the PvP formation if you can keep them alive. Now, the Awakened Thane Burst, this is very similar, except you're swapping Audrey, and then you're swapping Anasta for Astrilda, within this burst comp. But again, there are a couple stronger comps that we can run that awakened version of Thane versus how we're running it within here. Then, of course, the D tier, we get into the All Res. This is a staple when it comes to campaign formations. It works incredibly well. And then Ainz with Albedo. This is the old school Ainz comp. As you can see, guys, it took until the D tier for Ainz to even make it into formations. We're not seeing him present in PvP where he used to be the absolute monster. We're also not seeing him very much within campaign stages. Once you get to a certain point, he is kind of dropping out. Now the Thor install, this is an older build as well. Thing with this one, guys, is you do have to have Mizoth for that crowd control and that survivability aspect, and we have the awakened version of Aziz. Most players don't have Mizoth built out, and if they do, they probably have a lot of other formations that are on a much higher tier than here. Then we have the awakened Baden cycle right down here in the bottom, which of course is similar to what we've seen with the Scarlet cycle. Just putting Neve in here with the awakened version of Baden, dropping out Scarlet and dropping out Desira within their formations themselves. And then the final one, Ainz without Albedo or Merlin. Again, a little bit of a different formation in here. So we have Arthur, his only appearance in here, the awakened version of Talene, which I believe there's one other right up here that has it as well, but running with Ainz, Mortis, and then of course the crowd control that we're seeing there from Yennefer. So overall, guys, a very, very amazing guide to put together with the different tiers. I love how it is formatted. Again, there's a couple different pages on this. You can see alternates, you can see kind of subcomps, things of that nature. I will put the link down below so you can check this out. And as always, thank you guys for watching.